Good evening, everyone. This is Pradeep once again with a new session on Microsoft Windows. As you know that we have been covering 15 days, 15 webinars for more than 15 topics. So today's topic is the seventh topic, which is Windows. Windows we all are familiar with, but very little do we know about it. So let's explore Windows. Before I go ahead and delve into the session, let me request once again to make the donation for PM Cares Fund or any other charity organization, because act of kindness matters. Where do you donate doesn't matter. So please make sure that you do some act of kindness. Do it today. Do not defer it for tomorrow. If you want to find the link of PM Cares website, it is there on the screen displayed, or you can use the QR code to scan and go to this website to make the payment. Today's session is the seventh session on Microsoft Windows. Here we are going to be talking about various features which are known to you or might not be known to you completely. So we are going to be talking about these features. Before I go ahead, a few announcements. From tomorrow onwards, you will be receiving emails from Pradeep at techtrainings.net and not Pradeep at techandtraining.biz. Make sure that you save this email address, because we send the new emailers the new information about the session, and we send updates from the previous training program. So make sure that you add this email address to your contact list. One more thing, all the videos of previous sessions, all the recordings are available at this URL, which is 15 days webinar series, which is tinyurl.com/15-day webinar. Here we upload all the videos of previous sessions. Yeah, at times it does happen that there could be slight delay, but we will ensure that our videos are online before we end the next day's session. I'm sorry, yesterday's videos have not been uploaded till now, but it is being uploaded, and before we end this session, it will be up on our YouTube channel. So please keep in touch on our YouTube channel and this playlist. This is my introduction. I will sincerely request each one of you to go to our YouTube channel and be the subscriber, because so far we have uploaded more than 120 videos, and these videos talk about various productivity tips and tricks, be it mobile, Google, or anything. Please go ahead and subscribe to our channel. And one thing that I'm very happy with is, in the last 6 days, we have earned more than 600 subscribers. So this is a very good thing. People are coming to our channel and liking these sessions and videos. That is nothing but the reward for our hard work that we are doing. One more thing, please do connect with me on LinkedIn and leave your comments on my LinkedIn profile. This is something which is very important. This is one-way communication. Please do ask your questions on the Q&A panel, because you can't speak to me during this session. And one more happy news about yesterday's thing. Yesterday, I requested people to give feedback, and I'm happy that more than 200 people gave their feedback. So it is almost 120 times the feedback that we were receiving. So thank you very much for accepting our appeal. So friends, happy learning, and let's get to our Windows. So first thing that we are going to talk about Windows is we are going to start from this Windows button. As you know that this Windows button is nothing but your start button. Now, what do we know about the start button? When we click on the start button here, we get this start screen. This is very important. And I've seen many people do not manage their Windows screen. So let me show you some tips and tricks about this Windows. Here, you can rearrange these icons on this Windows panel as and when you need it. Yeah. So let's say I would like to put it in the previous group, or all the games that I play, I would want them to be on a separate group. So see, when I drag this here, I see a blue line here. That means it's nothing but a group, and I can even name that group games. Now here I would like this icon to be a little smaller because it's taking too much space on my screen. What I can do here is I do right click, and after I do right click, I see the option resize, and I can make it very small like this tiny icon, or I can make it pretty big icon like this. Yeah. So it's your choice. How do you organize your start screen? It's completely up to you. So I have start screen, and whatever application that I use frequently, I have added them over here. Yeah. Make sure that you manage your start screen very well. Next thing here we are going to talk about is the Windows taskbar. Now here, when we talk about this taskbar, first thing that we get to see is Cortana. Yeah. So this Cortana is nothing but your like line assistant. So I'm not going to explore more on this Cortana feature, because at times I've seen that it does not recognize everything that we say properly, and it is still in developmental phase. But next to that, we have something which is very interesting icon, that is task view. When we click on that task view, let me show you what do we get to see here. When you click on task view, all the active applications that you're using will be available here, but it shows you the history of last 30 days, what you have been doing on Windows, what websites are you visiting, and all those things. So let's say you remember that last Monday you worked something and you would like to see which file was that. You can just go to that particular date here and open that file. So let's say link email, I want to work on this file. I think I have deleted that file, but anyways, what you can do is when you go here at the bottom, you get to see different files which are available, and you can start working with those files. See, I have been working on forms lately. So these are bring your presentation. So let me click here. Okay, it is also, yeah. So this is the website I went to. This is my OneDrive. It is opening. If I go to my OneDrive, I'll get to see that presentation, because I save everything on my cloud, as I mentioned, and that's the reason it was giving me OneDrive link. It also shows 66 activities. So it does not show all the activities that you have done, but if you expand, you will get to see more of the activities like website you've visited and all. And let me tell you, such activities, it is very easy to get on mobile as well. So later today, I'm going to tell you how can we go ahead and view these activities on mobile as well. So let's take an example. Where can this be very useful? You've worked something on your laptop and you've forgotten where have you saved that document, but you remember that last week you were working on that document and you're going in the car where you don't want to take out your laptop at that time. You can simply use your mobile to access that document, just in case if that file is saved on the cloud. See how simple is it? So I'm going to come to this part later in the session when we will be discussing about mobile features. Now, next thing here I like about is the multiple desktop. So you can create multiple desktop and arrange the screen as per your requirement. So let's say I'm going to start my presentation, but when I do presentation, I would like certain applications to be available while I do the presentation, and side by side during the break, I also would like to work on my stuff, which are personal. Yeah. So let's say I open my Outlook here, and I don't want this Outlook to be available on that screen where I'm giving the presentation. Now here, there is some other desktop. There is OneNote document. This OneNote, I would like it to be available on the other screen, not the screen. So let's see the other screen as well. This is the second desktop. When I click here, I get to see the second desktop. Yeah, I can create multiple desktops as well. Let's go to another desktop, and here I see only one file. And so these were the two files which I had actually before the training started. I had kept it over here. But let's say I would like this OneNote also to be available on this window. I come here, and here I see this OneNote. I do right click on this OneNote, and it says move to right, snap left, and here show this window on all desktops, show this window on all desktops. Okay. Or move to. I would like it to be moved to desktop number 2. I click on desktop number 2. Now see, when I go to desktop number 2, here I have all the desktops which are available, all the files which are available, and this desktop has got fewer windows available. When I'm not conducting the training program, I want these files to be with me, and while I'm conducting the training program, I want these stuffs to be open and running. A simple shortcut to switch the windows or desktops. At the moment you click here and you change the desktops like this, or the simple shortcut is Windows Control left arrow to move to the previous desktop, Windows Control right arrow to move to the desktop on the right hand side. Now which desktop is on the right hand side? Desktop 2 is on the right hand side and desktop 1 is on the left hand side. So Windows Control right and left will help you move to different desktops. Yeah. Next thing, you can see that there are multiple icons available here, and let's say if your mouse is not working, then what you can do? How can you open these applications? So now this becomes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. Yeah. So let's say I would like to open my Outlook. What I'll do, Windows, and it is present at the second position. So I press Windows 2. The Outlook has opened. Windows 4 is going to help me to open my browser. Windows 3 is nothing but OneNote. So likewise friends, I can use Windows and the icon number, and the icon number starts with this icon. Yeah. So icon number starts with this particular icon. So you can read the number, and Windows and respective icon is going to be your icon number. Now, next thing that we do here is when we talk about multiple desktops. Let me move this again to move to desktop 1. This one also I would like to move to desktop 1. Okay. Now see, let us talk about multiple applications that I have open. So I have this, let's say I open this mail, I open news. I'm working with multiple applications at the same time. Yeah. So I have all these things open with me. Okay. Now at the moment, what I do is I have to minimize and all those things. Yeah. Multiple times I have to minimize. So let me show you something which is very simple. Can you see all the screens which are open in the background? If I shake the screen like this, see all the background application gets minimized automatically. Let's see that once again. This is open, this is open, this is open, this is open, my Teams is open, this is open, everything is open, and this time I'm gonna use the news. So I move it slowly, it doesn't work, but if I shake it quickly, it opens again. See here. If I move it slowly, nothing happens, but if I move it quickly, everything gets minimized. So that's nothing but a mouse shortcut which can help you to minimize all the which are at the back end. Yeah. So this is how we can quickly work with multiple windows. Now, since we are talking about Windows Explorer, it is good to talk about how do we manage our files and folders. Yeah. So first thing, let's talk about Windows Explorer. We are getting deeper into Windows Explorer. I am working with a lot of applications which are here. This OneNote I would like to open frequently. But the problem is, how do I open? Click here, start, go to OneNote. If it is not there, I'll type ONE OneNote, and that's how I open it. Otherwise, what I can do is I can go ahead and search for OneNote here. So these are various ways of opening a particular application. Yeah. Now I'm going to show you how to create a shortcut to this OneNote application that you press some keyboard combination and OneNote will open up automatically. But let me tell you friends, there is no such shortcut that exists for any application in Windows. But you can create the shortcut. Now, the steps that I'm going to talk about is only available in Microsoft Windows 10, right? Windows 8 and 7 will have the steps, but they are slightly different. So I'm going to verbally tell you, but it may not be possible for me to get into the details of Windows 7 and 8. But more or less steps remain the same. You can go ahead and start and type OneNote. Be it Windows 7, Windows 8, 8.1, it is the same feature. Now, here, what I'm going to do is, here we have got OneNote app. I'll do right click. Whenever you get in Windows 7, 8 and 8.1 also, when you search OneNote, you get the application on the screen. You can do right click and there is an option that you see open file location. So Windows 8, 8.1 and 10, you will get open file location. But if you're using Windows 7, when you do right click, you get properties. So go to properties. So for Windows 7, right click properties, and for Windows 8, 8.1, 10, you go to open application. Now for 8, 8.1 and 10, do right click and go to properties. This is the same screen where Windows 7 people have come to. Yeah. So now there is no difference between Windows 7, Windows 10 and Windows 8.1. Now here, what I need to do is, here I see something shortcut key. If you try to delete this none, you can't delete it. But what you need to do is you want to insert the shortcut. So just type O and automatically you will see Control Alt and O will come up on the screen. Automatically it will take up. You just press O and it will change to Control Alt O. That means Control Alt and O is your shortcut. But now friends, after this there will be a challenge. When you click on apply, it asks for administrator password. So if you are a corporate user, you may not have this right. But if this is your personal computer, you can simply go to continue and it works. Yeah. So make sure if you do not have password, you can't go beyond the screen. You can take help from your IT department. Now we have assigned the shortcut which is Control Alt and O, and now I can click OK. So friends, I repeat the steps once again. You go to start, type OneNote, right click, open file location. When you open file location, you come to this screen. You get different applications. And mind it, you can assign such shortcut to any of these applications which are visible here. Just do right click on that application, whichever you want to assign. Let's say now I want to assign Excel. So I type right click, properties. When I go to Excel, right click properties, I go to shortcut key which says none. I type E. So Control Alt and E. Now I click again password, continue and click OK. Now see, Excel is not open on the screen. It's not even there on the other desktop. See, Excel is not open here. Let me close both the windows, and Excel is not open here, as well as Excel is not open in the previous window. So press Control Alt and E and you will see automatically Excel will open up. Let me close this, and now I press Control Alt E and Excel opens. Let me close this file. Now next thing about few presenter tips. Now few presenter tips means when you are giving a presentation, how can you customize your Windows desktop so that your presentation looks outstanding than others' presentation. First thing, you can see that none of the files are visible on my desktop. How is that possible? So what I need to do is, I do right click, view, and here I have this new option which is latest version of Windows. It is available, show desktop. The moment I check it, all the files on my desktop are visible. I do right click, view, and I go to show desktop. When I click on it, the options get disappeared. So this is how you can show the desktop. Second thing after this is, let us say I am pointing on any particular section on the screen. I want you to look here. So do you see that circle which is coming on the screen? It's very important that that circle keeps blinking on the screen. How does that work? That is nothing but a mouse property. How do we set that mouse property? Start and press Windows R. That mouse setting is different. I am going to talk about that. But here we need to go to Windows R, which is nothing but run command. When you type run command, here you need to type control mouse. Press Windows and R and then go to control space mouse. I've seen some people in my training program, they press CTRL or something else, but it is the complete word which is control. Now, after typing control mouse, what you need to do is click OK and see it comes up on this particular screen. You need to now go to this pointer options. When you go to pointer options, here you will see the option. Please do not click on pointers. I've seen many people, they click on pointer. It is pointer options, the third tab from the left. If you're using Dell laptop or Dell machine, it could be fourth tab as well. When you go to pointer options, here you have the option of show location of pointer when I press Control key. Check that box and click OK. Now what you can do is, when you're giving the presentation, you can point any particular space on the screen and get this option. How do you get that circles? You need to keep pressing Control button on the screen. Just tap the Control button. When you tap the Control button, you get this screen. Now, next thing that you can do here is, after you do this control screen, the mouse pointer, wherever the mouse pointer is, it will show you those circles. Next thing that we are going to talk about now is mouse settings. So, people, those who are using touchpad, for them it is very useful. Let me show you something. Touchpad settings. I'm just doing Google search. Okay. Now, when we often do Google search or any document, it could be Excel, it could be Word, it could be your email, you have to scroll like this. If you're using external mouse, you can scroll it, but if you're not using external mouse, then most of the people, they come here and they drag the screen like this. Yeah. Instead of doing that on touchpad, if you're using laptop, you can use 2-finger, touch it on your touchpad and drag it up and down. Touch 2-finger on your touchpad, drag it up and down. If you're using Windows 10, you should be able to use this feature. If you're using any other Windows, then, and if you're not able to access this feature, possibly it could be because your Windows is earlier version, or you may not have the active drivers. So get in touch with your IT person to ask them to install touchpad drivers. Now, the next thing that we have here, when we talk about 2-finger, we also have something called as 3-finger touch. By the way, before I go ahead, 3-finger and 4-finger, let me show you where these settings are, because you can also try it with me. So, start and go to touchpad. When you type start and type touchpad, if you're using Windows 10, you will get to see this touchpad. Now here, see, when you go to touchpad here, on the screen, you see here, tap. What happens with when you tap with or on the screen, when you scroll, it says drag 2 fingers to scroll. If this box is checked, you can use drag, pinch to zoom, right? So these are the features which are on mobile as well. Now 3-finger gesture, what should happen when you press 3-finger left and right, up and down? So see here, these are the gestures for 3 fingers. I'll explain these features, but at the moment just understand these settings. So what you can do is, you want to switch app or do nothing or change the audio volume, all those things you can select when you swipe 3 fingers. Here when you swipe 4 fingers, that also setting is available. When you tap 4 fingers, what should happen on your screen? When you swipe 4 fingers up, down, something else should happen. So all these settings are there. Just read these settings and learn how to use these settings. So let me quickly tell you how do I use my laptop using these settings. I can easily, using 2 fingers, I can scroll up and down. Yeah. Now next thing that I can do here is, using 3-finger, if I push, see, this is the same desktop screen that I get to see. When I pull, see here, when I pull, I get to see desktop. And this I am doing with 3 fingers because I have done these settings. Push, all the desktop screen, pull, you get to see the desktop. Yeah. 4-finger, I can turn my volume up and down. So I can increase or decrease the volume like this. So friends, these are all touchpad settings that we have. Yeah. Now, next thing, after we talk about touchpad mouse, let me talk about now a very important thing that we do quite often, which is nothing but folder and files management. Yeah. When I talk about folder and files management, something that we have already seen, that you should keep all your files on your OneDrive. So I'm not going to talk about OneDrive features. Yeah, but it will be highly recommended that you start and use OneDrive from today, because it's extremely useful. Now, next thing, what we are going to do is, once you create a folder, let's say I create a folder. How do you create a folder, by the way? Simple thing. Control Shift N. It's a simple way to create a folder. Yeah, Control Shift N. Give the name any name. Enter. Now I don't like this name. F2. I repeat, Control Shift N is a shortcut to create a folder. Very handy shortcut. Now I have selected this window, this folder. I would like to rename it. Simple F2. New name. Enter. Now I have this file and I would like to see the size of all these files. Combined, what is the size? Often what do? Right click, properties. I'll tell you a shortcut. Control A, Alt, Enter. When you press Control A, Alt and Enter, it will give you the size of that file. Control A to select all the files and Alt Enter to get the properties of those files. Next thing. Often, let me show you something that I find it very difficult to search files on my system. Yeah. So this used to be a major challenge for me, that I find it extremely difficult to locate the files, and often it happens that I have created some file long back. I need that file urgently, but unfortunately do not remember the name of the file, nor do I remember the location where did I save it. I'm sure all of you or most of you would be facing the same challenge. So how do we locate the files easily and quickly? Let's learn that part. In order to locate the files easily and quickly, what do is I go to this PC, and this PC, why am I going to this PC? Because all my system files are available in only one drive, that is C drive. But even if I had D drive, E drive, then this PC would be good enough to search amongst all the drives. I come to this part and I go to the search bar, and I'm sure what you would do is you will type the name of the file and you would like to search. Let's say I do the same thing. I want a file with the name Excel and I press enter. Now when I press enter, few things I want you to notice. First thing, I have got Excel folder, Excel icon, Excel system files, PDF file. Plenty of files are visible here. Okay. Now, second thing that I see here, you can see the number of files. I've got 11,949, almost 12,000 files. Now, is it really possible for you to go through all these files and search the file that you are looking for? Of course not. What you can do now, in order to go ahead and locate the file, I'm going to use some tips and tricks. Let's learn about these tricks to search files. I'm clicking on name :Excel, and when I press enter, see here the number of files have gone down to 798. From 12,000 to 798, huge reduction in number of files. Now, earlier what was happening when I was searching without name, it was only searching the Excel word wherever it could find Excel word in that document or file, it would give it to you. It won't check if it is the name of the file or not. But now since I remember the name of the file contains this word, I'll type name :Excel. Remember that you got to type it like this. When you type name :Excel, it will automatically give you the result. Yeah. Now I have 798 file, but still it is pretty big number because it's almost 800 files. I still cannot search among these files. So let's say, how do I go next? Now I know that the file that I was looking for, now there could be various variations in what am I looking for. So I'm going to cover all these variations. So the first variation is the file that I'm looking for was not a file, but it's a folder. If I could find that folder, I can find all the files. So what I can do is I'll type kind : folder. Now when I press kind : folder, friends, understand first thing, it's from 798, it has gone down to 73, and I have got only folders here. These are all only folders. Now here, if I look for any particular file within these folders, I'll get it. It is comparatively much easier for me now to look for the file that I was looking for. Now let's take an example. I go ahead and talk about folder. I want file. Yeah. But what kind of file? Maybe I am looking for video. See, I create a lot of videos on various things. So these are various videos on my computer which are on Excel. But you will see that video, when I typed video, it got me MP4 extension file, AVI extension file, WMV extension files. That means it does not look for a specific extension, but it knows what extensions belong to a video category. So automatically it will look for video. Yeah. So if I want pictures, I will type pictures. If I want audio, I'll type audio, and various other things I can type and I'll get the result. Yeah. If you want to get more category of kind, you will get these. This is the entire list of kind. Yeah. So if you want movies, music, note, picture, everything is available here. You can try with different categories and locate the kind of file that you're looking for. Let's say I'm not looking for video, I'm looking for a proper file. Yeah. But I also was getting those system files, if you remember. I don't want those system files. So what I'm going to do is, in kind, I'll type documents. When I type documents here, it has removed all the system files, and from 800, it has given me 544 files. Yeah. So friends, understand how am I slowly and gradually reducing the number of files that I have. Now the file that I'm looking for is document, but now I remember it was a PowerPoint file. So let's see how do we go ahead. Yeah. Or else before PowerPoint, let me show you the file that I was looking for. The size of that file was more than 10 MB. Yeah. So I go ahead and type size : greater than 10 MB. Enter. Now see, I got 28 files which are more than 10 MB. Yeah. Now it also contains Word file and other files. So I am looking for a PowerPoint file. So now PowerPoint, I know the extension. So extension is PPTX to be precise. So I type the extension by typing type : PPTX. Right. So when you do not know the extension, but you know what kind of file it is, you will use kind keyword. But if you know the extension, proper extension, if you remember, when I used kind, I got MP4, AVI, WMV, all different kinds of format. But let's say amongst those file formats, I just need MP4 file. So I don't need to go with document, but I'll straight away go to PPTX file. Now, after going ahead with type PPTX, what we'll do here, next thing that I'm going to talk about after PPTX is I'm looking up for more files. Let's say the file that I have worked on the last 2 years. So somewhere within last 2 years, I would have worked on this file. So let me locate the file. So I go to date modified. Now, friends, let me tell you one thing. On my system, the calendar does not come. When you type only date modified and colon, right now if you try, you will get a calendar. For some reason, I was working with on my laptop since yesterday or since few days, I am not getting that calendar for some reason, which I need to troubleshoot. But in your case, you will get the calendar. Yeah. So in that calendar, you just have to choose the to date. Over here, I will have to manually type the date. So it's good to learn about manual also. Let's say I am looking files between 1st January 2000, last year I said 2018 2018. Yeah. So see, how did I write 0101 2018? The date format has to be exactly the same of your Windows. Make sure that you don't make mistakes. Then I have to give a range now. Now how do I give the range? I'll type dot dot. When I type dot dot, what does it do? It is now going to talk about range. Now what you need to do is 22. Today is 22 -04 -2020. So what I did was I have created a range and I press enter. When I press enter, I have not got any file. Okay, let me make it 2017. I should get some file. Yeah. So I think I created this file 3 years ago. So now you can see that this file is there. You can see that this is a PowerPoint file. The name of the file is Excel. It is, the size of that file is 95 MB. And last time I have worked on this file was 14th December 2017. Yeah. So remember, this is how you can look for files which are there on your computer even though you do not know the name or location. Now you will ask, how can I say without name or location because I started with name? Let me give you an example. I am looking for a file, all the files that I worked on Excel yesterday. I don't know the name, I don't know the location, but I know two things. It was an Excel file and I worked on it yesterday. First thing, type x plus x, date modified, colon, yesterday's date was 21/04/2020. Enter. These are the files that I worked on yesterday. Yeah. So understand, here whatever keyword shortcuts that I gave you, if you use those keyword, combination of those keywords, you will easily be able to search any files on your system. Friends, I do not manage files in folders properly, but I know one thing, these search techniques. Until date, it has never happened that I have the file on my desktop or on my laptop and I could not search that file. So remember, use these tricks. But let me also tell you one more problem that you come across when you search. And few of you who would be searching along with me, who are trying to search and match my speed, wouldn't be able to do it because your search screen, that green bar flows across the screen slowly and slowly. Yeah. And by the time you would complete one search, I would have gone to 2 or 3 search criteria. I know that that problem is there, but we are recording this video and it will be available on our YouTube channel. But how can we increase the search speed? Because that pathetic green bar, I don't like looking at it. So what we can do here, now this is not the process that you can complete it within just few seconds. This process takes few hours, which is called as indexing. Now when we talk about indexing, let me give you an example. I have a book of 1000 pages and I would like to search on one particular topic. What would I do? I'll go to the index page and I'll find out the chapter number and I'll only look within that chapter. I don't have to look within the entire book. Something of that sort, indexing, is limited to certain categories and we have to expand it to the entire laptop. Now what do I mean by limited to certain category and expand it to the entire laptop? What you got to do is go to start and type indexing. When you go to start and type indexing, you get this option which says indexing options. Yeah. When you go to indexing options, at the moment you will see on my system it says indexing complete. Let me tell you, till the time this indexing is complete, you will not be able to search properly. Yeah. So what I would suggest, if you're turning the indexing on, keep your laptop on for few hours. And let me tell you, while it is being indexed, you will not find any performance issues. It will start in the background and if you're working, it will reduce the speed to minimum. But when the computer is idle, it will take up more resources to complete the indexing. Yeah. Once indexing is complete, you don't have to worry about indexing, starting to index again and again. Because once indexing is complete, when you create new files or add new files, automatically those files will be indexed. So this is one time process until you buy a new laptop or you format your laptop. Yeah. So how do we modify it? You click on indexing, go to modify and check all the options which are over here. Once you check all these options, click OK. The screen would say indexing speed has reduced due to user activity. That means since you're working on this system, the speed has reduced, but it will still let you work efficiently. It won't create any performance issues as said earlier. So once you click on indexing, it will start increasing this number. That means indexing has started. And like I said, you need to wait for 2 to 3 hours to get it completed. Again, it can be 2 to 3 hours or it can be even more than that depending on the performance of your system as well as the number of files that you have on your computer. So friends, we have spoken about indexing and one topic that I've forgotten. So I'm just jumping over to that topic and I'm going to come back to next feature is on productivity and all those things. But when I was talking about presenter feature, I missed talking about two features. One feature is very important that I was talking about pointing the screen like this. Yeah. When you click on pointing the screen, if a person is sitting at a very long distance, that person will not be able to read what is this written. I can press now. Please don't try that right now, because see, there is no problem. But let me show you first, then you try it out. Windows plus. When I press Windows and plus, you will see the screen is getting zoomed. Yeah. And when I press Windows minus, you zoom out the screen. Now you can try. If you had tried earlier, most of the people get confused and they get afraid that something happened to their screen. So first you observe Windows plus. It will take few seconds to zoom out, and if you press Windows minus, it will automatically zoom out. So zoom in and zoom out is a very useful feature for presenters. One more feature that I'd like to show you about the presentation. See, when you give presentations, at that time what happens, some notification come on the screen, and those notification at times disturbs us while giving the presentation. What you can do is, at the bottom right corner, you have the notification panel. See, it says 4 new notifications, but it has not shown even a single notification because I'm giving the presentation. You can click there, and there is an option which says focus assist. Do you see this alarms only? This is nothing but focus assist. So next time when I get any notification, that notification will be shown because I have turned it off. When you click on it, it says priority only, it says alarms only, and this is turned off. So next time when I get the notification, it will come. If I don't want it, I'll select priority only and I'll start giving the presentation. This feature is a brilliant feature because the moment you connect your screen to projector, or if you're using MS Teams or Zoom meeting, and if you're sharing the screen, automatically this feature gets turned on. And naturally you don't want notification, but at times, if this is still giving the notification, you can manually come here and you won't get any notifications in future. Next thing. So these were the 2 features that I missed talking about. Now, let's talk about something on pictures. So pictures, I'm sure most of you would be knowing about various features on pictures. So let me show you about some features. One is taking the screenshot. So you use snipping tool, right? Now the snipping tool is obsolete now. You've got something new, snip and sketch. Snip and sketch gives you various other options that you can use to snip the entire snip after 3 seconds, snip in 10 seconds, or snip now. So when I click on snip now, I can take the any particular section and I can take the screenshot. So this is a usual screen, and you can do marking and all those. These are brilliant features which have come. I'm not going to spend too much time on this. You can explore these features, very useful. Yeah. So snip and sketch is one feature which can help you work with pictures. Second thing is, yesterday I spoke about this feature, but I showed incomplete feature. Okay. Now, let me talk about this problem step recorder where you can get the series of screenshots quickly. So let's talk about that feature, which is when I go to start, I type PSR, which is nothing but the short form of problem step recorder. Microsoft has recently named it as step recorder, but it used to be known as problem step recorder. So I click on activate that feature, and now it is asking me to start record. I click on start record. Now it has started recording. Wherever I click, that entire window or that particular screen is going to be taken as a screenshot. So I clicked here, I clicked here, yeah, so it is taking me here. I'm doing some Google. So whatever screens that I have clicked on, it has taken the snapshot of those screens. Yeah. Now I come back and let me turn this top problem step recorder off. Yeah. Now you see that it has taken the snapshot, right? A lot of screenshots it has taken. I repeat, it is as soon as you click, it automatically takes a screenshot. If you click here, it has got high resolution image also. But the problem with these images is you cannot take it out. Yeah. So that's a concern. How do I remove all these pictures from this problem step recorder? Let's learn about that feature. So there is no feature in Windows that can help you to remove these pictures, but I have found out a technique that I use it to solve this problem. So let's see, how do I solve this problem. So I go to save and I create a desktop folder, name it as PSR, and I save it. So I go to PSR, yeah, and name it as screenshots. Now I go back to my desktop where the screenshots are saved, and here I will unzip this folder. When I unzip this folder, you get this MHT file, right? The problem with this MHT file is this is nothing but a web page like this. Now I can now go ahead and click on save picture as, but every picture you have to save it manually. Yeah. So if you are comfortable with this, you open that file, go to save picture as, and that is how you can save each and every picture. But you have to do it, save all the pictures manually. So that will take some time. And I'm a lazy fellow. I do not do repetitive work. So what do I do here? I do hold shift key and press right arrow, right mouse button. Shift right gives me this option that says opens with. I will open it with Microsoft Word. So what did I do? I created problem step recorder. I recorded all the steps. Yeah. So now in Microsoft Word, although this is half picture, but doesn't matter. Don't worry about that. So I have opened that problem step recorder output using Word. And now I go to save as. I press F12 to go to save as. And here it says single file web page. I change it to web page filtered. Right? Now what I'm doing, I've opened Word document, that problem stack recorder, whatever the HTML file was. I have opened that file, and now I go to web page filtered, and now I go to save. Now when I go to save, here, see what is happening. I go to screenshots, and here there is recording, and there is one folder with the files. This, look at all the files, all the screenshots are here. So friends, I repeat this step once again. You go ahead, activate a new recording. Once the recording is complete, you go to save. The moment you save it, it comes on the screen, that is PSR, and it creates this zip file. Unzip that file, it will give you this MHT file. You double click on it, open it, and if you want to individually remove all the pictures, you can. Otherwise, you can do right click, go to open with, shift right click, just in case if you don't get this open with, you can hold shift and do right click and go to Word document. The moment you go to Word, it will open Word document like this. All you have to do is press F12 on the screen. At times, if you are using few laptops, when you press F12, it doesn't work. You may have to press function F12, or you can go to file save as, whatever you're comfortable with. Click here and select the option filtered web page filtered. When you click on web page filtered, and then when you save it, it will create an HTML web page in a separate file, and it will create a folder where all the screenshots are available. Yeah. So likewise, I've been able to extract all the screenshots on the screen, and now I can use it the way I want. Yeah. So day after tomorrow, I'm going to tell you how to get these pictures at the single keystroke in PowerPoint. If you want to get them in PowerPoint, how do you get it? Yeah, that I'm going to talk about. There are a lot of techniques I'm going to show in PowerPoint training program, and I'm sure you guys will love PowerPoint as well. So now what we are going to do is, this is how we can manage the pictures using problem step recorder. Next thing is, I would like to send these pictures. If you see all these pictures, the size of this picture is 19.4 MB. Yeah, I want to send it to someone, but I don't want to send them, and it is not required to send these high resolution pictures to the recipient. I would like to reduce this picture size. Let's see, how do I reduce the size of these pictures? Yeah, and I would like to do it quickly, because see, there are multiple ways of reducing the size of the pictures, but the problem is, do I want to do it to each one of them? Answer is no. Like Earlier, I did not work with individual pictures. This time also, I'm not going to work with individual pictures. But this time, I'll select all these pictures, Control A. I'll do right click. And here, I select the option Send To. Right? I do right click, Send To. And then I go to Mail Recipient. When I go to Mail Recipient, it opens a screen which says Attach File. And here, it says original size, the size of that picture is 19.4 MB. If I would like to minimize the size to the minimum, it reduces it to 754 KB. I click on attach and see, it opens my Outlook, and once Outlook opens, it will open my email and see all the emails are attached in this file, and the size is just few KBs, right? So how quickly I open my Outlook, or if it is not Outlook, then your default mail client will open. Most likely Windows Mail will open with all these pictures. It's not only Outlook which opens up, Windows Mail client will also open up, just in case if you quickly want to send these in an email. So I repeat the steps. Select all, right click, send to mail recipient. Simple. Yeah. There is also, since I've spoken about pictures, let me talk about some video. Yeah. So when you talk about video, there is a video editor. I don't want to get into the details of this feature because most of the time people have been asking me, is there any video editor available? Yes, there is one video editor available within your Windows. Yeah. But I'm going to talk about something different. I'm going to talk about 3D videos or 3D presentation or 3D paint. So I type paint. There is something called as 3D paint or paint 3D. Now let's say I create new, and when I create new, see how I can easily create 3D shapes. First 3D shape, let's say this is a cube, sphere. I create it, and this is a sphere which automatically has come. Now for you, this sphere is nothing but two-dimensional sphere, right? No big deal. Let me once again go to this and create this cube. I create this cube and see this is nothing but a 3D cube. Yeah, this is a 3D cube that you can use. Again, no big deal. I again go to 3D shapes, and here I have doodle. So let me draw something. Simple doodling. Yeah, I would like this to be like this. This is something like this, like this. So this is nothing but doodling. Yeah, and I click here. It's done. I move it here. This is one thing. Now you must be wondering, where are we going to use these 3D? Let me show you. So I go to 3D shapes and I click here, and again I'm going to draw something crazy thing. See, now this is nothing but 3D doodle that we have created. Understood? This is nothing but 3D structure. Yeah. Now if you must be wondering, what are we going to do with these 3D shapes and 3D pictures? Let me encourage you later on this. When you go to this YouTube channel, there are certain videos I would encourage you to look at. One is, of course, this video. You can view one video which is 71st Republic Day of India. Here I have used 3D model. I have created using 3D paint and used it there. Then and I'm going to show some tricks of this in my PowerPoint training program as well. Then there is one 3D model in PowerPoint presentation. 3D model. Try this 3D model. You will be amazed to see that stunning presentations can be created using these 3D models. I'm not getting into the detail how does this 3D work. Maybe you can explore this or wait for PowerPoint training program. Okay. Now, one more thing we can do here is mixed reality. Okay. So, mixed reality, what you can do is you can get these objects on with you with mixed reality. Let's say I would like to use this, and if it doesn't work in this program, then I have recorded a video also. When I click on mixed reality, you will see here, this is my screen and these are the little objects. Okay, do you see these little objects are moving as I am moving? Yeah, this is how this little objects move, and I can remove them as well. But now it is not working. But anyways, I don't want to play with that anymore. You can just try these features and I'm sure you will love it. Yeah, so friends, these were the features about pictures and graphics. Now 2 to 3 things about your performance of Windows and security of your Windows. I'm going to talk about one very important thing, and that feature is extremely useful for each one of you. See, as you know that online threats are increasing, and along with those online threats, the challenges to deal with those threats are also increasing. So what we can do here is, let's say I give you a scenario that you are working and all of a sudden you receive an email with lots of attachment in it, and it is quite intimidating that you would want to open that attachment, but you're afraid because it has come from unknown source. This might affect your system with viruses. What would you do? Yeah, so what you can do is, if you have Windows on Windows system, you can type sandbox. There is something called a sandbox. Now at times the sandbox will not be readily available. Yeah, so in such cases what you can do is, before opening sandbox, just type turn and you will get the first option which says turn Windows feature on or off. Yeah, when you see this feature, click on that, and when the screen comes up at the bottom, you will see something. See, that double finger is not working properly. I'm trying, but it is not working properly. Anyways, so I come here, and here there is an option which says Windows Sandbox. Check that box and click OK. It might ask you to restart the computer. Yeah. So once you activate Sandbox, you click Start and type Sandbox. The Sandbox will be available. Yeah. It will always ask you to open, and when you open the Sandbox, you'll be surprised to see that it has got computer inside. So it is a mini system or mini Windows XP, Windows 10, which is available here. Yeah, so this is nothing but my Windows system, and if I can go to Start and I can type anything, it opens up as a normal system. Okay, so let me maximize the screen. See here. Okay, so now when I go to Start, it's taking little while to open up. Anyways, let me open the browser. So this is nothing but the start screen. Yeah, it is nothing but a virtual system, virtual machine, and initially it will take some time to open up, but once it is open up, you can see all the start and all those options will be available. Now I go to Microsoft Edge and open the browser. So the only application that you will find inside this sandbox is the browser. Rest everything needs to be installed separately. It does not install anything on your system. Okay. Now I can go to any random website, no matter if it is the most malicious website on the earth. I can go there. Even if your system gets infected, all you have to do is, let me do one thing. Let me create a notepad here so that I can show you. Yeah, I'm creating a notepad. File, save as, and new notepad, and I'm saving it on desktop. So as you can see that I'm creating a new notepad. So now what happens, you can go to any website, no matter whatever the kind of fishy website it is, as long as you are not entering the details. So friends, let me make you clear. When you go to the website, do not enter the detail. If a website automatically installs the spyware, then this is the solution to the problem. But if you go to any website and you enter your credit card details, friends, I'm not responsible. I'm very afraid of these instances. So make sure that you act wisely. Now what happens here is, I have created this file. Now What I'm going to do is I'm going to close this sandbox. Okay, so that file new notepad is there. I'm going to close. It says, are you sure you want to close sandbox? Once Windows Sandbox is closed, all of its contents will be discarded and permanently lost. So when I close, that means, let's say your system got infected with virus. Yeah, and that was the most harmful virus. No worries. You have opened Sandbox, and Sandbox is nothing but a secured environment. You go back to Sandbox, press Enter, and it is again going to go back and launch the same screen. And this time you will not find that notepad available there. Now, you will find one challenging thing. Let's say you are working with an application, and that application you installed on this sandbox. Now, when you need it and accidentally you close sandbox, you will have to install that application again, because every time you open sandbox, it will be a clean slate. So friends, this is Windows Sandbox, a very useful, very important feature that every one of us would need. Next thing, I would quickly talk about one ransomware protection. I'm not sure if you are aware of this ransomware protection, but if you go to start and type ransomware, you will come here. Now this is nothing but control folder access. This can trouble you at times, but I'll tell you how to deal with it. This option might be disabled. You got to turn this feature on. This ransomware protection means no virus can directly get installed on your computer. If there is a simple change in the folder, the system root folder, Microsoft is going to intimate you. Anything that you try, any automatic change, if it is happening in the system folder, which is likely to be created by viruses, this ransomware protection is going to stop that immediately. You can go ahead and override that, but that will be completely your choice. See, virus and threat protection, unauthorized changes blocked, control folder access. So if I click here, it says, do you want to see? I click yes, and it says some atmgr.exe. This particular program was trying to make changes on my system. This could be a genuine file. This could be harmful malicious software also. If I want to allow it, I can say allow on device, or else I'll keep it as it is. I won't take any action because the action was already taken by your system. So make sure, friends, this ransomware protection is one of the best feature in Windows 10 that Microsoft has brought. And recently ransomware was in news, which has created a lot of problems. It used to protect the system and used to demand ransom money to decrypt the files. But this ransomware protection is indeed very helpful. Yeah. So friends, these were the features that I wanted to talk about, and there are a few features which I'm not able to show for this session. That is it. I will send an email. The features that I have not been able to talk about is Hindi typing and drive cleanup, and yeah, these are the two features, and on mobile. So what I'll do is tomorrow when I'm going to write an email, I'm going to provide some links where you can research more on these topics. So I believe this was a good and learning session for you. Now let me take up certain questions, and I'll take up 4 to 5 questions and then we'll wrap up. Okay, how to take screenshots in Windows 10? Okay, it's very simple. You can use Snip and Sketch, or you can use print screen. Please elaborate on switching desktop and its usage once again. See, I would recommend what you can do is switching desktop. You click here, new desktop. Whatever programs that you would like to open here, the simple way is go to that desktop and open the programs. So I open this program. So OneNote is here. Now I come here and go to desktop 1. I don't see OneNote. Now why is it important? If you're working and suddenly you don't want this way, you're working on 2 projects. These are the files related to project 1, which you want to keep it open, and there is another files which are related to project 2. You want to keep it open in separate desktop. So you can switch this by going to desktop 1, desktop 2, or else the shortcut is Control, Windows, and right or left arrow key. Okay, sir, how to secure your files and folders from unauthorized access? So that is what I have spoken about, from unauthorized access. If you're talking about protecting the folders from someone so that other people should not be able to access your account, I would say Windows L or Windows Lock feature is there. Now you would say that for home computer, You cannot lock the entire PC. Yes, you cannot lock the entire PC, but you can create profiles and you can give different people different logins onto the same PC, and every person can log in using their system. There is no feature in Windows where you can block the files with password. There are some hacks which are available, but I don't want to recommend and I don't want to consider them in this session. Okay, Windows getting slow down. Can we have the solution working in Excel and design software? Okay, if Windows is getting slow, see, often I have seen the problem why Windows goes slow is because while buying the laptop, people only consider 2 to 3 things. The look is the first thing. Second, they ask for RAM, and the third one, they ask for size of hard drive, and fourth one, probably the processor speed. Wherein, let me tell you, the first thing that you should ask while buying the computer is what hard disk type are you using? I mean, is there on the system? If it is manual hard drive, don't buy those computer. Go for SSD hard drive. And then if you have the SSD hard drive, even i3 processor works smoothly. SSD hard drive PCs are little costly. You may have to spend good amount of money to get those PCs, but I recommend it is worth buying those computer, because let's say if you buy a manual hard drive system, within 2 years, it will be incapable of handling such a large files or softwares, because every day Microsoft is making the software size bigger and bigger. Not only Microsoft, every other organization, even Chrome, if you go back to your system, you will check the size of the Chrome is more than 300 MB. Yeah. So better you buy a better computer right now, so that you don't have to buy another computer after 1 or 2 years. I'm having Windows 10, but why not reflecting option under touchpad? Okay, if you're using Windows 10, then I would suggest go to Windows R and type Win, V-E-R. When you type WinVer, here your Windows version should be 1803 and later version. Yeah, that is what you can use. Not able to get web page filter option. You can then use simple web page. Is Windows better in Apple or Mac laptop? Well, if you want to use Windows, why should you go for Mac laptop? If you want to use Mac, go for it. But if you want to use Windows in Mac, my suggestion is better go for Windows. Wherein I don't find any difference between Windows laptop and Mac laptop. It's just a pricey gadget that I feel. That is my personal opinion. I find the features in Windows much more than what Mac offers. Yeah, so one copy thing, how can I copy stuff and efficiently use it? See, copy thing is one very useful thing which I missed talking about. Let me show you. If I copy this, Control C, I copy this once again, Control C, and I copy this statement, Control C. I want to paste it here. What will get pasted? The last copied item. But if your Windows is of 1809 and later version, you can press Windows V and see all the stuff that I've copied earlier are available here. So Windows V is a shortcut which is nothing but clipboard. So friends, that's it from my side. I have spoken a lot today. We have gone beyond 6:30. So now what I would request and appreciate is Prashant is forwarding the feedback link. I will highly appreciate if you fill the feedback. Please give the feedback in large numbers like you all did yesterday. And humble request, please go to my YouTube channel and be the subscriber, because I upload lot of videos and lot of tips and tricks. So even after this 15 days webinar is over, we can still be in touch with each other, and you can still keep your learning journey on. So learning should not stop with 15 days webinar. It should start with 15 days webinar, because I'm sure most of you have the complaints that I talk very fast, and I've been giving you the reasons. I have no choice about it. But if you are my subscribers, I will keep on posting new features, new additions to my YouTube channel, and you will be happy to learn from the YouTube channel. So thank you very much, friends. That's it from my side. I hope you take good care of yourself in this situation. Take care. Bye-bye.